Hey everybody, and welcome to Attempts at Governance episode 157, and we are live broadcasting on the main Polkadot account today, bringing this important discussion about governance to the masses. Want to welcome everybody on the panel and everybody in the chat. If you want to join the chat, make sure you go to the Kusamarian YouTube channel to show up on screen there. We're going to get started with the state of the Treasury. This week, our USD stablecoin stockpile is down $63,709, bringing the stablecoin stash to $8,871,961 USD. We can see that USDT appears to be a little bit more popular for spending than USDC right now. That's interesting. But as far as the DOT stash goes, we have 4.7 million over here and another 18 million over here, bringing the DOT treasury up 32,638 DOT to 22,801,491 DOT. That's the state of the treasury. I'll now throw it over to Funky for the state of the funk.
Thank you so much, Jay. The state of the funk is, as usual, welcoming. Most of you know that I was a teacher for 20 years, and I tried to really build a culture in a classroom that was incredibly inclusive, and especially welcome people from outside our ecosystem. So I'm very happy to welcome my friend Bchek here. He's one of the co-hosts from the Modern Market Show, and I'm sure we're going to talk about the ref that we put up recently. And but yes, just excited to have somebody who's from outside the Polkadot ecosystem come in and take an interest in us. And so that's what, and we should all be so welcoming to others as well, as we're out there on the timeline trying to educate people on Polkadot and its tech stack. Thanks, Jay.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Funky. We'll now throw it over to Limo to look at referenda gone by.
Thank you very much, Jay, and hello to everybody on the panel and watching. Regarding what you said earlier, Jay, about USDT being more popular, it might be because more CEXs and off-ramps currently support it.
Yeah.
But I know the guys at Velocity Labs are trying to fix that, so that will be interesting to see in the future. Ben put his hand up.
Yes, Ben.
I think some people might also just be copying the call data from the first examples because that was all done on USDT.
Good points, guys. Very good. Thank you.
So let's get into ref gone by. So the first one is by Giota on the Wish for Change track, ref 990. This was rejected, and it was to restrict the games bounty, which is bounty number 38, from investing in games related to mythical games. So now the games bounty can invest in games related to them. Then we've got only one big spender this week. This is from the Polkadot Music Events Initiatives. This is ref 989. This was rejected, and it was for 386.5 thousand DOT for live music on Polkadot Billfold, plus Radiate onboarding. So we'll see if those guys come back with an adjusted ref. Then we've got one that's confirming right now, but there's a few hours left. This is by Braille on the medium spinner track, ref 1032. This proposes curators for the UX bounty, which is bounty number 52. The curators will be DJ from Subwallet, Anton from Nova Sound Technologies, Nobite from Talisman, Nino from Apollon, Nico from Velocity Labs, Valera and Rockio from DHNN, Tommy and Jeeper from OpenGov Watch, and Remy and Francisco from Parity. Then we've got one that normally we would have mentioned timed out refs, but this is ref 1038 by Partify. Please don't post these kind of refs. This is just to like advertise. Yeah, don't do that. Then we've got medium spender from Integrity, ref 998. This one was rejected. It was for 209,000 USDT for creating privacy sidechains for the Polkadot eco. But interestingly, another one from Integrity, ref 997, was approved, and this was for 44,000 USDT for Incognity, which is the privacy sidechains on the Paseo testnet. So interesting, one was rejected and one was approved there. Then we've got one by Method, ref 996. This one was rejected. It was for 77,000 DOT for sponsoring the Method World of Warcraft team. Then we've got one by Subsquid, ref 995. This one was approved, and it's for 49,000 DOT for the Subsquid public indexing infrastructure for Polkadot and Kusama for Q4 2023. Then we're on to some small spenders. The first one is by Key Pictures, ref 1037. This was approved, and it's for 10,000 DOT for Behind the Code additional funding for additional content. If you haven't seen Behind the Code, you should definitely watch it. It's posted on the Kusamarian channel. It's very, very good. Then we've got another small spender by, I will mess this name up, Isu Balau, ref 1036. This was rejected. It was for 4.2 thousand DOT for Polkadot for 100,000 students. It's an app, a mobile app. Now we're on to the big spenders. The first one is by some guy called Lima. This was an absolute grift, ref 1069. This was approved, and it was for 1,000 USDT for exposing Machiko for being a fake head ambassador. Then we've got one by Evan, who's part of the Polkadot social media team. This is ref 1053. This one was rejected, and it was for 3,900 USDT to cover Lucy Colden's expenses relating to CoinFest Asia travel. And then we've got another big tipper from SimDot, ref 1050. This was rejected. It was for 1,000 DOT as an ecosystem agent tip for Simon's contributions. And the final big tipper is by Nakata, ref 1046. This was also rejected. It was a tip of 550 DOT for their experiments that Polkadot decoded 2024 with IoT and using the Robonomics platform, which was pretty interesting, but token holders didn't like it. Then we've got some small tippers. The first one is by Jeeper, ref 1079. This was approved, and it was a 45 DOT tip for creating 9 campaign posters, let's say. It was pretty cool. Then we've got an anonymous poster, ref 1061. This was approved, and it was for 20 DOT to Saurav for his work on the Parity Tech repo. This wasn't the Parity tip bot, which we normally don't cover, but I wanted to bring it up because you can use the Parity tip bot when people contribute to that repo. Then we've got one by Six, who's a head ambassador, ref 1057. This was approved, and it's basically a 1 DOT spend, but it was used as a sign of sentiment regarding setting up a Polkadot hub in Budapest. And the final big small tipper, is by Colorful Notion, ref 1052. This was approved, and it was a 10 DOT tip for creating content related to how to use utility batch and treasury spends to request USDC and USDT, which might be pretty interesting if we want to request more USDC and not USDT. And we'll wrap it up with fellowship admin stuff. So the first one is by me, ref 1041. This was approved, and this removed Machiko from the ambassador program. Then we've got one from Luca from Iceberg Nodes, ref 993. This was approved and promotes Luca Poggi to head ambassador. And the final one is Dustin, ref 981. This was approved as well, and it promotes Dustin Plantoff to head ambassador. But notably, when the hard cap of 21 head ambassadors is added in the next runtime upgrade, those people will be removed from the program and would have to resubmit a referendum while simultaneously demoting another head ambassador.
Oh, so both Luca and Dustin are going to be kicked out when the 21 hard cap is put in. They'll have to resubmit, but in the submission, they got to kick someone out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay, wow. What a referenda gone by. Thank you very much, Limo. Congratulations on your tip for exposing Michiko Watanabe. Well done there. A lot of speculation on who that could be. And yeah, I want to say real quick, you did point out that Behind the Code got funding for another 8 episodes. And I did just want to shill that this Saturday's episode is going to feature none other than Mr. Lol McShiz. Mr. Lol McShiz will be on Behind the Code Web3 Builders this weekend, and it's a heck of an episode. So make sure you tune into that. And just going to bring Crane in over here. That's that. Okay, we're going to start off with a project update, which is going to kind of morph into a discussion for future funding. We got Everett back on the show. Everett, welcome back to AAG. What do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about both the project that we're working on. So that's the K-Mir project, which was the referenda 749. I've been giving monthly updates here about that project. It's to provide a semantics to the MIR, which is the mid-level IR representation of the Rust C compiler for doing formal verification of Rust programs. The work so far has been largely on getting pull requests into the Rust C compiler, which we finally successfully were able to do. The Rust C compiler, believe it or not, has quite a bit of CI checks that were onerous to get past, but we finally kind of struggled past those.
Nice.
And now we're able to extract MIR from the Rust C compiler, and other projects that also are building static analysis tools and stuff are able to do the same, and use that to generate the input claims for our verification engine, basically. So now we're to the point of the project where basically all the work is on our side. We don't need to do anything more for the Rust C compiler for a little bit, at least. We probably will have to make some more changes in the future, but at least now we know the process. There is one small personnel update on that project. One of the folks that was on the project is leaving to go on paternity leave, which we fully support. And so we are spinning up another engineer to kind of take his place. And so that has caused a little bit of a delay over the past couple of weeks, but I don't think it should change overall timeline of the project anyway.
How else can we get more developers?
More money. Here's a link to the website. It hasn't changed a lot since last week, and then a link to also the referenda. So the other thing I want to talk about is we submitted a new discussion post for the Polka VM, actually. So we developed semantics of programming languages in general, and so this is another semantics instead of MIR. It's Polka VM. And the idea here is to provide a reference specification for the Polka VM, which is a modified RISC-V, basically, that people can use for conformance testing and as a reference for implementing their own Polka VMs that they want to submit to this GEM bounty prize pool. This doesn't exist yet, as far as I'm aware, like a reference specification of the Polka VM. And we can make an executable one that can also be used to do symbolic execution and stuff like that. So that's all laid out in the proposal there. Go have a look. We'd appreciate any feedback. We've circulated that proposal also with the Parity team and generally got positive support from them on it. So would love any feedback or any questions that people have about what we're trying to accomplish there. And yeah, I don't think I have much else, so it can save us some time probably.
Okay, great. So you ran it by Parity and they're into it. That's great. Can you, for our sake, for my sake maybe, just explain why this wouldn't be included in the Jam prize?
Yeah, so the Jam prize, the first prize that you would get is for basically a client that can accept blocks or can read blocks, right? So they're much more focused on the client side the implementation, less on the Poca VM side. They just kind of assume that everyone's going to come with a working Poca VM
I see.
to the prize, basically. So this is kind of a little lower level than what the Jam prize is focused on. Definitely a necessity for being able to participate in the Jam, but kind of the lowest first step that you would need to do. And there isn't an existing reference specification and implementation of the Poca VM other than Parity's implementation to go with that. And so the point of the Jam Prize is to promote diversity of clients, right? But we're kind of missing the diversity of Poca VMs aspect of that as well, which has been a source of bugs in the other ecosystems I've worked in the past. So this is to provide both a website with that specification and something to conform and test other Poca VMs against, basically. And then eventually also our other tools like symbolic execution and debuggers and things like that. So
thanks so much. And I think I missed it, but do you have any idea what the budget for this 4 months of work is going to be?
Yeah, it's sorry, I didn't post it in the discussion, but the ask is about 80,000 DOT, which right now is about $370,000.
Great. And have you thought about asking for stable coins instead of DOT? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I did not think about that. I mean, we can do that if that's what people prefer. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yes.
Seems to be a trend toward that. I don't know where it's coming from, but could be good to save those dots for a rainy day. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it. I think I can yield the rest of my time.
Any questions for Everett? Concerns, possible risks? We're happy.
Okay.
Sweet. Everett, thanks for coming on, and we appreciate the frequent updates and the education. Yes, Sasha, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I guess I think this project is awesome. I think that innovating and getting up to speed with the Poco VM stuff that's happening is really neat. I'm wondering, like, how will you be kind of measuring the success of your releases in terms of the developer experience? Like, it is such a novel tech stack. How are you going to sort of say, hey, like, this is how I'm moving the needle, and this is the mark that I'm making?
Well, I would hope we could work basically closely with Parity on that and be able to help them to evaluate submissions to the Jam Bounty Prize, basically, and be able to conformance test against other implementations of the Poca VM. So including Parity's implementation. So anything that where we find a bug in either their or our implementation, and that's because the specification was unclear, that's something I think that is clearly moving the needle because that could be a consensus bug. So we would report on all of those, of course. But
so tight coordination with Parity is really the winning ingredient here.
I think so. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm happy to help support if you need anything. Me being sort of somewhat connected with a lot of developers inside of Parity, always happy to help. Happy to reach out.
Yeah, I sent some messages internally there earlier today, but any other messages would be great too. But.
Okay, we have a comment from Ben. Thanks, Sasha.
Yeah, can you just confirm, that's for 4 months for 2 full-timers?
Yes.
Okay,
well, 2 full-timers and 1 part-time. That would be the marketing and website and stuff like that material. So.
Right. So just some #quick maths on 2 full-timers. That's about 45 grand a month for a full-timer, or $290 an hour. If you're
that's in the Treasury proposal, how the prices are calculated. It is just a little bit over 4 months, and it's more than 2 full-timers. It's linked in and we're charging for full-time engineers $25K per person month, and for part-time engineers $12.5K per person month. So.
Is that standard when kind of dev shop commission or prices? And is it hourly, or is it just kind of a standard monthly fee?
It's monthly, and it's low for us, honestly. But.
For core Rust engineers.
I wouldn't know about core Rust engineers. I mean, we mostly have worked in like audits and security, right? And so, but for doing formal verification, this is on the lower end of what we charge. This is kind of like this is what we charge when we're applying for grants and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that. I think absolutely it is one of the sort of salary brackets that is higher end. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? All right. Oh, Oh, Robert, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, good, thanks. Yeah, just quickly there. I was just finding the stream, so I'm sorry it's a bit delayed because that one's delayed. On the pricing discussion, I think that's a low price for like security like work to be doing on this. And then I haven't studied the full proposal, but is the 4-month time frame here for doing a full like PVM specification or a subset of it?
A full. The PVM
Okay.
specification will actually be delivered pretty early in the proposal. So the PVM specification itself should be delivered by basically the halfway mark. And then there will be conformance testing and fuzzing, and also publishing the specification as like an online document that people can consume themselves directly. That's another small chunk. And then the final big chunk of work will actually be fuzz testing between the existing x86 toolchain, because Parity has a toolchain where they take PVM and they kind of transpile it to x86. That fuzz testing will be targeted at discovering any sort of JIT bombs that we could discover there, as well as conformance issues between the two. And then the other aspect of that final chunk of work will be the building up towards like a full client around that PVM specification, so it can also be tested in like the on-chain environment or on a test net or something like that against other clients for conformance and
Okay.
consensus differences. So,
And do you see this as viable as really becoming the test suite for all Jam implementations that are being delivered?
10 seconds.
I think the test suite would be something that probably Parity would have to maintain long term, but we certainly will contribute to it. That will be the goal.
And that's time. Thank you, guys.
Very good. Thank you very much, Funky. All right, Everett, thanks so much again for coming on the show. And we'll look out for this ref once it's posted, which will be posted
within a week or so.
All right. Nice. Thanks for coming on. Okay, before we get into further presentations today, somebody on the chat wanted to speak about this conference in Nigeria. I think a small little promotion, was it? Who was it? Just raise your hand and start talking is good.
GMGM.
Yeah, go ahead. What did you want to tell us about this?
Okay, I wanted to talk about the Web3 Lagos conference that is coming up on the 5th of September to 7th of September this year. So Polkadot Campus Guide, an initiative I started, will be present in the conference. A lot of countries will be present, a lot of blockchains and protocols will be present at the event. So it's a great opportunity to represent Polkadot and Polkadot Campus Guide at the conference. Previously, before now, you hardly find Polkadot in any conference or event in Nigeria, representing Polkadot at a full scale. So this is a kind of a first-time event that Polkadot will be establishing its presence, and also will also be given the opportunity to talk about Polkadot a bit. And I think Polytope Lab by Segun Olanga will also be present because they are one of the sponsors at the event. So this is what I want to say.
Okay, awesome. Well, we wish you luck at that conference, and thanks for bringing Polkadot around. All right, let's move on now. Okay, so checking the agenda here. First discussion, or the next discussion we're going to get into. Oh, this is an interesting one. This is the Pluto wallet. Pluto wallet, account abstraction, full-featured NFT support, transaction analyzer. Now, this is coming from a dev who came through the Polkadot Blockchain Academy in Berkeley. We first met him in Berkeley, and we got a little interview with him, I think, or maybe not. But I've been following his work ever since, and glad to see him come into the treasury here. Rosti, what's going on, bro? What do you want to tell us?
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm very excited to share you about Pluto Wallet. I've also prepared a very short presentation, so I will share. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, so thanks very much for your introduction. I've been here in the Polkadot ecosystem for some time. I won a few hackathons already, and I believe I have got quite a lot of experience right now. And I would like to build this Pluto wallet, which is a wallet that adapts to every user individually. If you think of I will make an analogy here. If you think of a typical wallet that you have in your pocket, usually like think of it that you have got like only money in there and it holds only your money. But maybe that was like it was like that in the last century. But in this century, your wallet probably looks something like this. You have got your payment cards, your travel cards, ID cards, insurance cards, and like many different things. And basically, this like simple pocket wallet is adapting to your needs. It's able to handle all of your different cards, needs, money, currencies, and everything. So why shouldn't wallets also work like this? And that's like my idea behind the customizable layouts, where basically each person has got different functionalities because usually they are interested in different things. If they are interested in governance, maybe they want to see different referendas and discussions. If they are interested in DeFi, maybe they would like to see like swapping features, features like providing liquidity and things like that. So yeah, I think that like you can see it on the screen, the UI. And in my proposal, I would like to build these things. So firstly, I would like to add account abstraction to improve the security and onboarding process and also the user experience. I will be using OmniWay that's developed by InfArch. And I also believe it will be a first wallet that has got account abstraction in the Polkadot ecosystem. Then I also want to add a full-featured NFT support with like everything. So I want to show NFTs with all of their details, all of the collections with all of the details and properties and things like that. I would also like to add extra functions that, for example, only exist on certain chains, but not on like some others. Let's say, for example, nesting is only available on Unique Network, but it's not available on Asset Hub NFTs. So I would also like to support that, and also selling, buying, and basically everything that you can think of in terms of NFTs is that I would like to add into the wallet. And also lastly, security in terms of wallets is also very important. So I would like to add transaction analyzer. Like in my idea, I would like to do something similar that Rainbow Wallet does. And so it would like analyze each of your transactions and show you, for example, that, oh, hey, you are sending a lot of money. Do you really want to send it? Isn't it like a scammer trying to scam you? So basically, in terms of security, the user experience is also very important, because even if you have the best security measures, if the user experience sucks, then people will not like follow the rules of those security bounds, and they will get scammed anyways. And yeah, so that's the summary of my proposal. I want to improve the user experience and onboarding. I want to add a full-featured NFT support and also the best-in-class security into Pluto Wallet. And if you want to learn more, you can watch my decoded presentation. And if you want to get technical details, you can read the proposals. Thank you for attention. That's all from me.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for the presentation there. So looking at the votes right now, it's pretty early days. Lots of votes to come in, but the first 5 million or so are saying 95.7% in favor. But I want to throw it to the panel here and get some questions or comments, and ask the panel to please keep it concise so we can provide the most value possible to our audience. Who would like to leave a comment first? Yes, Jose.
Yeah, it's great to see this, really. Is it mobile focus, or are you going to be making a desktop client for it too?
No, it will be only for mobile, but you can connect it to desktop as well. For example, with Plutonication.
Thank you, Limo.
Hey, so to preface it, I work at Nova Wallet. So So you say like I think it's like full NFT support or something. What NFT standards are you going to support? For example, at Nova, we only support certain ones, but obviously there's a wide range of NFTs in the Polkadot and Substrate ecosystem, right? So what standards will you support?
Yeah, so at the moment, I mostly look at unique network NFTs and then also a setup NFTs, and all, like both the NFTs palette and the uniques palette that exists there. And then it will also support many other NFTs, like some NFTs on Akala, A-Star, Moonbeam, and things like that, like also the ERC NFTs. But they will be mostly read-only for now. But like for those asset hub NFTs and unique network NFTs, it will feature everything, like all of the functionalities that are supported by these palettes.
All right. Anything else? Yes, Sasha.
Great to have you here. I think, I don't know if you remember, we met and chatted extensively when we met in Dakota a year ago or something. Very cool project. I'm curious, what do you have to say about like what your motivation is about NFTs? Why do we care so much about NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at existing options, and I think it's quite lacking. I also like know guys from Codadot, for example, and they are very passionate about NFTs, but they were frustrated that current wallets don't show them, and I think it would help the community, especially.
So what do you think, for instance, concretely, your wallet will unlock? What sort of new things that, like, what excitement are we going to have in terms of the service that your wallet will be providing? What is that service going to really open doors, opportunities to?
So let's say, for example, those NFTs on Unique Network, if they support nesting of NFTs, if they are nestable, you would be able to nest them right in your wallet. You wouldn't have to like go to some Unique Network website and do it from there. You would be able to do it in your wallet.
I want to say, because I think how you're presenting it could be misleading. Because I think what you're doing is very similar to what Argent Wallet has been doing, where a wallet is really a backpack. In Solana, we have the concept of a backpack, and it's much more than just holding assets. And if we can make these wallets actually very sophisticated in the types of assets they can hold, then really we can abstract even the concept of wallet, abstract the NFTs, and we just talk about what it is that a user is interacting with a blockchain for XYZ, and we actually forget about all this. That would be a big recommendation I have, because I think what you're doing is awesome. And like I left in my comment, it's literally like ecosystems like Starknet have solved these problems, have done amazing work with their wallet. For example, Argent is a really great inspiration, and Pluto Wallet, I think, can serve this gap in the Polkadot ecosystem. So I'm really excited to see that.
All right, we have 1 minute and 5 seconds remaining, and Limo has another quick comment.
Okay.
Yeah, last question from me. In the deliverables and budget section, it says updates are published to the Google Play Store. Are you going to support iOS, or is it primarily Android at the moment?
Yeah, I'm currently looking at it. I need to figure out the legal stuff. For example, I need to make a legal company and then publish it through there. So I'm currently exploring it, and from the tech stack, it will definitely be possible to do it.
And we have 30 seconds left. I know Funky's being very strict today, so let's see if we can squeeze this in, Tommy.
Hey, you're writing you're going to publish it on GitHub as open source. Will it be how strictly will it be integrated into Pluto Wallet? Is it a separate library that others can reuse, or is it directly integrated into the code?
Sorry, I misheard. What exactly will be?
You say you're going to open source it. Is the open source component going to be part of the Pluto Wallet repository, or is it?
All right.
Yeah, everything will be open source. Everything.
Okay, maybe we can take that question to the chat there. Thanks everybody for the really stimulating discussion there. My ears perked up a little bit about the Invarch account abstraction here. Kind of made me remember there's something about that. Referendum 6 of OpenGov, Saturn Gateway, a multi-chain, multi-sig application for the Polkadot ecosystem, 75,435 DOT 1 year, 1 month ago. It just made me think about that. Well, let's carry on here. Thank you very much, Rosti, and we'll see how this goes in the coming weeks. And you're definitely welcome back anytime to tell us more about this. Oh, what a treat. In the other room, in the holding chamber, we have Mr. Raul coming in. Raul, welcome. Come on over and join the show because we got a big one to discuss now. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ref 1065, the improved proposal from Chainalysis to Polkadot. This is 3 separate proposed spends of 2.17 million USDC for this improved Chainalysis proposal. And I think we have Georgie. Anybody else on the chat who's here to talk about this?
No, it's only me. Today it's only me. In the next AAG will come the rest of the Chainalysis team.
Welcome. The timer has started. What do you want to tell us about 1065 today?
Okay, well, first of all, I will introduce myself for those who don't know me. I'm Georgie from Spanish BD team. Today I want to explain to the community why we have the proposal of Chainalysis, and also that and the first, the second, and the last one coming from the same need. So first, and I think it's very important to community to understand that Chainalysis is not here by their initiative. Chainalysis is here because it was requested by members of the communities. In this case, is the Spanish BD team to offer us their services. So during the first and the second and third proposal, it was guided and supported by our team. So why we did this request? So we are actually dealing with a large Spanish bank, and during this time, we detect a lack of legal compliance that was requested by the same bank. So after that, we discussed with some company in Spain in the legal sector, and we found that the AML provider, it's a fundamental requisite, but not only in Spain. It's on a global level from all type of financial institution, and maybe more specifically for the creation of financial products such as ETF, ETN, or other related to fiat. So let's see first the opportunity behind this deal, and also I want to see. I see a lot of complaint about the price, so maybe I want to compare between Chainalysis and his competitor to have a look about this issue of the price. So we are working on this large Spanish bank. They have an international presence, and we are working in 2 fronts. So the first one is to list DOT in their exchange. In this case, we are talking about the branch of this bank who is outside of the Spanish territory, and more specifically in Turkey. There it's a very big market in this country. I think 2023 there was $130 billion of crypto market, and the plan of this bank is same to cover around 40% of this market from the next few years. And for 2025, this model will be transferred to Spain, and later, depend of the regulation, if they allows, also will be transferred in LATAM. And the second line is related to solution that we can build in our network for this bank. So they are currently testing a loan model in private network in a friend and family mode. And maybe in the end of this year, maybe more early 2025, they want to move the same product, but in a public network in the same way, and friend and family mode. Obviously, they want to test. So we are talking about many other products that they are interested to build, like real world assets. But anyway, their main goal is to set up something like a tokenized collateral network. I think it's something similar to the JP Morgan network. But however, all these are simply projects that are not even defined. And here is the problem, is the same like the first one. To build any application where the banks need to use DOT to pay fees, they need this AML provider. It's the same like the first one. If they need to list DOT in their exchange, they need to have AML provider. And also, if they need to set up any financial product, also they need to have AML provider.
Okay.
And let's say first the deal, and then ask me a question. So in the other hand, we have also opened a conversation with other big asset managers, companies in USA about the ETF, but they all agree in the same things, that we need to comply with AML, and some of them, they mentioned that Chainalysis will be the best provider.
Okay.
Maybe if you want, I can make a brief compare with the price. And
I think this is really strong what you just said here, and we should probably have some questions here because you just listed how many potential business opportunities you have on the line if we can do Chainalysis. How many did you just say? Because I kind of got like lost how they were separate there.
Okay, I have already only with maybe secure deal behind this.
Yeah,
it's with the Spanish bank.
Yeah,
I told you it's about the DOT in their bank in Turkey, and this model will be transferred in Spain and then in Latin America, that they have a branch in all this country. And then we have the second line is to build application in our network. This is only Scratch. I mean, they are nothing defined, but they are happy to build in our network. Actually, they have only Polygon in our network.
Okay.
But here it's maybe 6.5 million only for this project. I mean, it's not good deal, okay? But I told you, we detect this lack of knowledge. I mean, that we need AML provider to be able to open all this opportunity in the institutional market. I mean, if we integrate Chainalysis, we will have the opportunity to be listed in all exchanges in banks. Also, we will have the opportunity to set up a ETF. If we don't have, and I can say Chainalysis and not other AML provider, we can be made ETF.
Okay, let's we have about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Limo, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, so this is a quick one. So if I'm just an average token holder, there's another referendum, Ref 1083, which is the Score Chain referendum. So the average token holder might be confused between the two because they're both like KYT referendums. It would be good if next week, I think you said the Chainalysis guys can come on next week. The Score Chain guys can come on next week as well. It would be good to set up a comparison debate next week, because currently I think the choice might confuse people on which one's better, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
It's difficult to compare. It's like compare a plastic gun with a real weapon. It's I mean, the Score Chain. Yes, they offer I look this proposal. The unique good thing in this proposal is the RPC, that it's like self-onboarding tools. But this is also provided from the Chainalysis proposal. So they can bring us the opportunity to go to the institutional market. They are smaller. They are very small, so they don't bring any value in this.
We have 1 minute left, Raul. We want to hear from you, but just so you know, Funky's being very strict on the time today, so give it a shot.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, guys. Sorry, Funky, for taking a bit of time. I just want to say before this that I'm very happy that Hope is here because that means we're not a boys' club, so that's really good. With regards to the Chainalysis proposal, I have to say that I was not a big fan of the first proposal that happened. I think a couple months ago, if I'm not mistaken. I can attest what Georgie says with regards to financial institutions or financial organizations stating that first is a #1 condition for them to even start talking about listing a token, working on ETF, working on futures, whatever that is, to have an AML tool for this. And I got involved into talking with some of these organizations to understand what exactly their requirements were. And I have to say that they've all said that of all of the options out there, Chainalysis is the best solely because the governmental agencies also use it, and so they wouldn't have the problem of asymmetrical information when it comes to track or understand the provenance of a token or an amount of tokens from one account to the other. I think that, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Raul. I hate to cut off Senpai, but yeah, I was looking down and we're past the 10-minute mark.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
No,
Okay.
don't apologize.
Just one thing that I want to say is that I've seen in this proposal that they submitted that they have included a lot of different parachains on integration, including Asset Hub, which I think it's very important for an AML tool to include Asset Hub, particularly with the plans for the future on Asset Hub. I think that's a very big plus. And I also read in the proposal that they're willing to develop some sort of SDK in the sense of allowing other parachains that are not included in the proposal to use and be integrated to the tool as well. So I think that's very interesting.
Thank you, Raul. We're gonna shut it down there. And thanks for the deep research on this one, and also the vote of confidence for Chainalysis here. Georgie, thank you for coming on and opening this up with us. We'll have another 10 minutes for the team next week. Sounds good?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we went about a minute and a half over there, so we'll just take it off Berto's time. Berto, we got this Polkadot app, PCF IP rights and funding for publishing the app, 50,000 USDT, and this has to do with this beautiful app you've been teasing on X. Welcome to the show. I'm just kidding. We're gonna give you the full 10. What do you want to tell us today?
I was actually planning to do interpretive dance for the first 8 minutes and then 2 minutes of proposal. So,
well, this is how they do it in Australia, right?
Yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, like this kangaroo jumping around. It's pretty good. So, if you are not aware, there is a group of people making a new mobile app, Polkadot branded, which I have been posting some stuff on Twitter about, which looks quite nice. We collectively want the PCF, which is the Polkadot Community Foundation, to own the source code of the app and essentially own the app, which would be the first for the DAO. So the token holders essentially own the product, which is kind of cool. And so this proposal is two-part. One, to seek ratification that the community want it. I hope they do. They didn't want to own the IP, not want the product. And the second is funding for the legal teams to go and do all of the agreements. So, for example, I have worked building mobile apps for a long time, like 9 years or something prior to here, and like all the lawyers always want to read all the terms and conditions. So, for example, when you sign up for the App Store, there's like 4 or 5 different sets of legal T's and C's, even though the lawyers cannot change them or do anything with Apple. They need to read them to make sure that they are legitimate. Make sure, for example, the PCF is set up in the Cayman's Islands, so they need to make sure that whatever Apple says we have to do doesn't break any laws, local laws, and all this kind of stuff, right? So there is some funding, 50K, to pay for legal fees for all of these reviews. I don't think it will cost 50K at all. I think the rough estimate is quite a lot lower than that, but we also want to have some buffer for unforeseen things and for the future as well. And I've kind of put that in the proposal, like before there's a spend, the team will post about it, and so that like it should be, well, fingers crossed, the plan is it should be quite transparent in terms of like how we are spending this 50K funding. That is it in a nutshell. 2 minutes, not too bad.
Well done.
And also have Theo with me from the Autonomous Foundation to answer any kind of questions about the PCF and how that all kind of works. But it's not a super long proposal. It's hopefully not a super huge amount of money. Hopefully everyone wants the app to be owned by the DAO so we can kind of manage it collectively. Thoughts, comments, questions?
Okay, so just to be clear, you're asking for $50,000 for legal fees and some contingency, but an eye for this proposal is also agreeing to let the PCF own the intellectual property of this app. Is that right?
To let us own the intellectual property of the app.
Through the PCF.
Token holders.
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Some comments or questions from the panel?
So the money goes to Walkers. Unsure if it's Walkers Global, but Theo can confirm or deny. But it goes to the, will go to the, I think it goes to the multi-sig set up by the PCF, and then they would distribute it to Walkers.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll go to PCS offshore council, Walkers, which is based in Cayman. They're a global law firm, really well known, but it'll be the offshore arm based in Cayman.
Cool. Any concerns or possible risks we see with this? How about a comment? Oh yeah, we got one.
Oh, Robert.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Just quickly to double confirm. So the PCF then is just the strict representative then of the DAO in this ownership, or does it own it on behalf of the DAO?
Yeah, on behalf of the community. So it's just the legal wrapper that lets the community own it. Yeah.
While we're here, Berto, do you want to tease anything more about the functionality of this app, potentially who it's for? Anything?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Yeah.
So if you missed it, I would recommend watching Bjorn's keynote from Decoded. It's on YouTube, but Bjorn basically kind of teases the app. It's a mobile app built for beginners. It's super user-friendly, super stripped back. It has pretty base functionality, but that's the intention. I think the biggest kind of exciting thing about the product is that you will be able to pay with crypto for items in store with cashback percentage dictated by the merchant, which is up to 20%. And I think in many cases it won't be the full 20%, but up to 20% is the biggest cashback percentage they offer. But they have a huge list of brands like Nike, Starbucks, Adidas. List goes on, right? So we're working with this third-party company called Raise, a payments company. They are currently US only, but they are expanding to approximately 20 other regions by the end of the year. And there will be 2 more live before the app launches. So it will be 3 countries live at launch, which is exciting. It is pretty seamless UX to kind of like purchase and then like have the card. You can purchase and share the card with someone else. So if you wanted to do remittance or gift someone a like Amazon card or a Nike card or whatever, you can also do that. So hit me up on the Telegram, sir. Yeah. So the first release is going to come shortly. I'll just keep talking 1 second, Sasha. First release is going to come shortly. We're going to have a whitelist available for select individuals, and then we be announcing the full rollout towards the end of the year. Hopefully going to time the release with some sort of crypto conference. And then from there, we've got lots of exciting plans afterwards. But
okay, let's hear from Sasha first, and then Tommy. We have 3 minutes,
Yeah,
20
real
seconds.
quick. What's the business model you have for the app?
Zero. The point is to not make money. The point is to push transactions on chain, push more users to Polkadot. It is to make more volume and demand for the ecosystem.
So what's the long-term plan then for the maintenance of the app?
Has to be treasury funded.
So okay, we expect continuous funding of this app for the treasury. Cool.
Yeah. But I think, like, in my opinion, if the app is not picked up and is not working, then we would cease to develop it. So I wouldn't
recommend those metrics. What would be those kind of signals that you'd be looking for after the first release?
Yeah, I have pinned together some thoughts on goals in terms of like users and transaction volume, but it depends on mine's kind of like time based, so it depends on when we launch and how that kind of goes. But happy to share that a little bit later on.
Initial development is by Parity, right?
Initial development is by Nova Summer. So Parity is doing, so I'm doing like product stuff, marketing stuff. The other designers are designing it. And then Nova is doing all of the build of the app.
Tommy, we have 2 minutes left.
I want to say two things. First of all, we are really lucky in ecosystem to have someone like Berto working on this, because he is a really good person who can think about all those things. I've seen him work in different aspects over the last years, and it's like really good to have him on this project. Number two, I think we have to consider the historical context of this, because there is the Polkadot DAO having a foundation in a legal context where it has full authority over the foundation. And now this foundation can hold IP property rights for Polkadot. And this is just insane if you think about this, how far this industry has come and how far on the edge here Polkadot is in terms of innovating and making these things actually happen. So personally, I'm very convinced about the whole thing, just out of the pure novelty of what we're doing here.
I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I'm not actually sure if there's any other DAO in the world that owns IP legally. The only other one I could think of maybe is like Nouns DAO, but it's probably like the IP, the source code is probably like just on someone's repo. Anyway, interesting. Maybe world first.
Partify walked so Polkadot app could run. Okay. Thanks. Berto, confirm or deny? Tommy's now closer to being on the whitelist after those opening comments.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we have 30 seconds. Anybody have one more comment? Good stuff. Berto, nice to have you on the show.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on here. Next we have, oh yeah, okay, this is an ongoing negotiation, and it's very interesting. This is milestone 2 for the Motif project. This is the staking dashboard. And this is a much reduced ask now, down to 121,800 USDT. And I know, Nick, that you've been working extremely hard to engage holders. You have a Telegram group that's one of the most active Telegram groups right now on my dashboard. But right now, 13 million against, 13.5 million against, but early days. Nick, welcome back to the show. And what do you want to tell us about this new approach?
I'd be happy to present.
Please.
Yeah, as Jay suggested, I create simple explainer about what Motif is all about. So our goal to make Polkadot on-chain staking as easy as, say, sex-based staking as much as we can. So I take the number yesterday. The Coinbase provides 11%, Binance under the 10%, while native staking provide much more better. The right one is from Motif app right now. And yes, users have the funds, but even more, the ecosystem also benefits from native staking. Users are closer to the ecosystem. They have wallets, bring liquidity, have bridge experience, and they can vote, DeFi, and so on. So we have individual user rather than Binance. So it's quite obvious why native staking unpopular in Polkadot. It's complex and non-trivial. So an emulator needs to know current state, his state, gather validator data, gather active set data, find the ways to leverage and only after that, they should get a plan, and after that, take some action to move their fund and maybe have some profits on that. And hard way, the users need to find the way to leverage yields, requiring knowledge like on-chain and off-chain validator data for whole set, and somehow gathering whole active nominator set changes from whole nominator sets. And our idea is simplify that, to provide the nominator with ready-to-use recommendation that come via Telegram to help users stay only taking action. So imagine you can choose validator without any overhead. Like you have the list, you can choose them, and you have like 10 to choose, and you need to have 6 from them. And the biggest question was whom to recommend. And we reviewed, like, received amazing feedback from Saxenberg, pointing out that we have many friends with top-tier hardware and the best data channels, like Rian, like Jay, like Saxenberg. And as you can check in the telemetry right now, they even set beefy on time, some of them, but not everybody, and not everybody even take an active action. So if you see, not everybody can be recommended. So even right now, we have somebody, as I understand, who's not beefy. So the thing is, we need to recommend the best of them. And we propose recommendation based on 3 subsets that leverage best network maintenance so far. So in every recommendation for the users, there will be 10 recommend validators from 3 different subsets. Public hardware, so you can put your public hardware, but you cannot put, and you have like the set, you can see on the map how it will be chosen. You have like best public performance, evaluate the private hardware and how you behave. And the important part, we need something more like home stakers concept from Ethereum. So it's more like the guys who have like the best, most updated software, and they do it very fast. So this approach promotes validator who invest in high-quality peer-to-peer networks. And even more, we can like provide some fun use stuff. So user, instead of like understanding the behavior, he will receive 10 amazing guys who will totally like help to have all eras, all crossed eras, because there are many of them, not like one. And you can like choose like, I want to Intel, I want AMD, I want to have my stake in Germany on Malaysia, and you can choose like that. And in this case, you will receive some very friendly Telegram notification, like you have validators and you can make 2% of field. Choose 6 from these 10 validators. You have received the list of validators. And you have like only make an action, so you don't need have some overhead based on that. So this solution helps the user to achieve results, and it helps it be more positive. And these products also make network to have more users, like because they can choose native stake because it will be achievable for them. So I hope this qualifies our product and helps everyone understand what is our solution is. And yes, and thanks for the help, guys. Thanks to everybody.
Cool. All right, let's get this off the screen here and open it up to some questions, comments, and concerns from the panel. What do we see about this now? 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Oh, Raul, welcome. Yes.
Yes, I joined late, but I have a lot of comments. Thank you, Nick, for the presentation. I think I'm gonna sound like Sean Tabrizi here, but I really, really believe that opinionated UIs are very, very important for the ecosystem, right? And this is a great example of one. I think they solve a UI problem. So if you're a nominator, you need a tool to improve your validator set. You can check which ones are the best ones, but then the current tools, not all, we know, for example, Nova does this, but a lot of tools like the staking dashboard don't have the solving part of the thing, right? Solving the validator recommendation system, right? There were some solutions in the past, and I think currently as well, including Nova, that allow this. I think also what's very interesting for Motive is that you would be able to also integrate this to other solutions. So the staking dashboard could integrate this solution if they think it's a good solution in the way of how they select validator set. They could integrate this, and they don't need to work on an extra solution on another solution in order to do this. And that's how we collaborate with each other. I think in general, opinionated UIs is it's an interesting thing for a protocol that should be as unopinionated as possible. The opinion should rely on the user interface itself.
Awesome
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely agree, and I think it should be up to the developers from Nova side, from staking dashboard. We can provide some information and some connectivity tools, and it will be open source, of course. Because if we need to recommend some validators, they should understand that we have like no own guides, take no own percents to recommend something close. It will be obvious because you have local data open and you can use that. And of course, this is the final destination for the system. And after like first decline of the first proposal, we cut all overheads with our application on appmotive.network because it's not necessary. Necessary to provide Telegram and provide API SDK to other developers in the ecosystem.
Okay, so we have about 3 minutes left and 3 new hands up. So let's respect each other's time. We're going to go Ben, Tommy, Lima. Ben.
Yeah, I was just going to say I would focus on that element of integrating with the existing UIs because no one's going to go to, I mean, I don't know what UI you had planned, but I doubt very much many people are going to go to motif.net or whatever to be able to use this. People are used to using Staking Dashboard, Nova, Talisman, all of those options. So these tools are useful, but we just need to make sure users are actually going to use them.
Yeah, that's the point. So, but we will stay like in this current app to have more like backend. So if you need, you can go and like to check what's going on. But the main part will be like the notification. And I think it's very important to have some channel with the user. So right now there is no like you stake and you forgot, but we can send like push notification for you. So hello, you can take like 10 dots per year or more. Why not to do that? And you will go to Nova, you will go to Talisman, to Staking Dashboard, and you can go back to the ecosystem, which that's why I'm in love with nominated proof of stake. It's so gamified, it's so like gamificated itself, and it can push the user back with this highest sales on the market so far. And I'm in love with Impulse. Yeah, sorry.
Good. No, it looks like both Tommy and Limo have chickened out. Okay, Limo's got something to say.
Okay, those guys stole my questions. I hate you guys. Yeah, okay, so a lot of users, staking is like the number one thing that most people do because more than 50% of DOT is staked, right? So as a whole, it's like the most popular thing to do on the Polkadot relay chain. And a lot of users want to get the highest returns on their stake. Obviously, it's what people want. But like these guys are saying, and like I said 2 weeks ago, I think, standalone products like this are really like it's not in the mind space of people to like use this app all the time, right? So again, backing up what these guys say, it would be good to use what you're making on Staking Dashboard and stuff. Like that's 100% the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to add like here because I think it's quite complementary to Nova as well, because if my wallet will collect my Telegram account, I will be not happy about that because it's like too cringy for me. Push notification at all, and I kill my push notification. But Telegram, we can use like standalone third party to use Telegram to connect staking from Nova, from Staking Dashboard, from anybody to this Telegram. It is not like some doxing of the users. That's why I think it can be very complementary.
Okay, Funky's got a final comment in the 30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, just a real quick comment. The only thing, I was going to politely push back on what Limo said. Everybody looks for the highest staking yields for their stake. Personally, I know I'm sacrificing some of my yield because I choose in my 16 validator mix a lot of community validators who may be charging a higher commission, that sort of thing. But I'm totally okay with that just because trying to just enhance decentralization. That's all.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and perhaps an option to support some community validators could be a cool feature as well. That's time right there.
If you can vote for my proposal, I'll be very happy to, guys. Thanks so much.
Alrighty. Thank you very much, Nick. And perseverance, we like to see that. I do think there's a need for this. Certainly have been pushing, selecting a new list of validators for my own stake. That's not been on my to-do list for like 2-3 weeks now. I just don't want to do it. Okay, so we're gonna move on now. Oh, this is great. Okay, so next we have 75,000 DOT for 50 Polkadot ecosystem PR campaigns in the most influential media. This is from Chainwire, a group that came up through the marketing bounty. And I was speaking about it last week. From my point of view, they've been quite successful, but now they need to convince the wide open gov about it. Who do we have on the chat to talk about this today? Anybody?
I saw Nadav earlier.
Yeah, Nadav was here. Did he duck out? We lost Nadav. Okay, we're going to skip that for now, and perhaps he'll come back. Let's see. Ooh, here's a nice one. So now we're going to move over to events. This is the Sub-Zero Reset in Bangkok. Oh, Limo, it'd be nice to see you in Bangkok again. We still got to try that Duran fruit there. This is the Web Zero team looking to unseat the what's that team called that did the fucking
Centered.
What's that?
Decentered.
Decentered, yes. Unseat decentered, uncentered, decentered. Looking for 437,560 USDC to put this event up in Sub-Zero. I want to welcome Roman and Xylodrone to the show, guys. What's going on?
And Sasha.
Oh, Sasha's on the
Hey,
team
guys.
too. Sasha, welcome on this.
Exactly.
Come on in.
Leading our dev world. Hey, guys.
Hey, great to be on the show. Yeah.
So starting off, first off, we don't want to deplatform anybody or whatever. It's just we feel well positioned to do this. We have a good team that understands the developer mindset well, and we believe Sub-Zero should become something that's really more aligned with hacker culture and not such a sort of corporate conference, if you want to call it that, So we want to stir it up a little bit, make it more appealing, more interesting, and put it where everybody else is. So why Bangkok again? We just feel, and we had a lot of conversations with community members that, generally Bangkok is a good choice, but the timing is important. Who's actually there? Which community? Is it the Polkadot community traveling there to meet up, or are we reaching people that could be getting interested in the ecosystem? So that's what we want to achieve. So that's why Bangkok again, but now at DEF CON. So right before DEF CON, we will reach basically the biggest developer audience this year that's going to travel to anywhere. So very interesting. We can do a lot of cross promotions. We will be done with Sub-Zero when DEF CON begins. So there's no overlap. And now I would give it over to Sasha to explain the concept a little bit.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much. So, I mean, a big part of this proposal and the way that we were really thinking about it is how to improve really moving the needle on building this developer community that Sub-Zero, when it was first concepted, the first concept of Sub-Zero is really to fill the gap of, Decoded is kind of like the more maybe ED stuff, and Sub-Zero is really for developers. So we really want to double down on that. And we think that by reaching out to a broader audience and really by focusing on building the culture around Sub-Zero would be, kind of really hit the nail on the head. So specifically, we highlight our approach being much more grassroots, prioritizing hacking culture. So Web0 has been organizing hacker houses for the last 6 months, starting with Denver in March, and we've been doing these hacker spaces. So that's something that's very close to heart to us. And the other key component in this proposal, if you look through it, is the emphasis on substrate. So we believe that actually positioning the Polkadot Developer Conference in such a way that brings developers that are using Substrate in other ecosystems and really focusing on the tech, right? The Polkadot SDK itself is really powerful, but a lot of people just have their own forks of Substrate too. These teams are, for example, Starknet has been doing that with a lot of their repos in the exploration team. Avail is a project from Polygon, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what our approach, right? Bringing these people together around the tech and not so much about very specific things to Polkadot, right? Because what we see is these authentic connections breed cool things. You put people together in the room, things happen. So that's kind of our approach on the culture. And I'll leave it to Xylo maybe to say a few words on the experience and sort of the set design, I guess.
Yeah, so we also aim to achieve our goals by having a specific venue that would be smaller than the ones in the past, and making it, to put it simply, more cozy. But also we would segregate the venue into multiple sections, allowing people to also network or perhaps co-work, And then again, we would have certain types of installations which would not necessarily even be connected to crypto, but also, for an example, now at like Web3 Summit, we're doing like a whole upcycling corner where we are not producing new merchandise and things like that, and people can customize what they already have. Additionally, we will also have the space open all of the time, so because we will have certain challenges for hackers to see if we can onboard more of them into Substrate. And yes, one thing to mention as well, beyond the 2 days that we're planning for the actual Sub-Zero, we also want to have a day dedicated with one stage to Jam, and the other one, which is going to be anything related to hacker culture, and not necessarily just crypto, to see how all of these things could mix. Additionally, we're planning, I mean, as you can see, the budget is what it is, and we plan to execute on the same level we have so far, even with this kind of budget, by actually bringing our team and not hiring a third party, which would basically decrease any outrageous expenses. And that also does not mean that we lose certain perks just because of that, because we will, for an example, fly our chef and hire locals to prepare free food and beverages. And we plan to keep the tickets free so that we can have a higher attendance. And additionally, we obviously want to make our guests at home in the Sub-Zero venue. So we will try and host all of our side events in the same venue so that people can still mingle after the conference and discuss ideas and so on. So now I'm going to give it back to Sasha for some Substrate onboarding.
All right.
We've got 4 minutes left, so I will just say, we are innovating in how we think about developer retention in Web3. And with Sub-Zero, yeah, that innovation looks like, finding new ways to engage with developers that are, I kind of tier them in 2 categories. People that are already very familiar with Substrate and Polkadot, the people that you would typically find at Web0, but others that are maybe new to the Polkadot ecosystem and maybe new to Web3. So for instance, we see this kind of divide, and then we would be kind of servicing and providing like kind of fun learning activities to tailor each group. So for instance, at Parity, for example, we used to adopt a very like bar camp style approach for very like kind of the engineering teams that want to kind of innovate the engineering teams that want to share learnings and share the direction on what they're doing, what they're working on. So this would be kind of catering to more advanced developers. People that are already very well experienced. And then we will also do fun activation campaigns, in-person activities to cater for the learning of the others. I will pass it on to Roman to talk a little bit about budget stuff, and then we can leave some questions.
But I mean, Ella already touched on it. So we run a tough budget at Web0. We don't screw around. We are very transparent, and with whatever we can insource, we insource to have cost control, because whenever you add an extra partner, they want to add the extra margin, and then your whole cost structure explodes. So that's what we're gonna avoid. And yeah, I don't want to take too much time. I mean, everything's online, the budget is there. Let's discuss it. Let's make sure it fits. That's why it's in discussions and in the forum. I'm gonna post the links, and yeah, please give us good feedback. Tell us what you like to see. Tell us what you don't like about it. Whatever it is, I'm very happy to answer all of the requests. And yeah, Hope, nice to see you again. So you have a question for us?
Hope to see. Yeah, I want to finish this off with like, we care a lot about developers. That is our focus. Everything we want to do is for developers and empower developers to keep innovating and pushing the needle on like cool projects being built in the ecosystem. And bringing together events with developer relations kind of has a really sweet spot in achieving that. Yeah.
Okay, we got 90 seconds left.
Let's go. Questions.
You're muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So full disclosure, at Decoded, I spent a lot of time at Web0 events. I think my question is you guys have a great sense of creating community. And while I was at an event. I was invited by one of the women to like the crypto girls. And they just came up to me and were friendly. So I feel you have those community connections. My question is, are you going to bring those community connections to this proposal? Like when like if it were to kick off, are you going to bring those all in?
These communities are always an incremental part of our events. So we always do activations with them. We work hard to provide a safe spot for women at conferences and make them feel at home. And we've been doing it at every event. So at every block space we've been doing, we did a women's only event that was just really tailored and high quality. And we give over the show for a little while, and we will make sure that there's always a space for that. And we leave it to the experts, people who run women communities in Web3, they know best. So
That's
of course. All right.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks very much. Just real quick, off the top of anybody's head, did the Dissenter team have a price on their Sub-Zero that they withdrew? What was that?
600K for prepayment. I'm not sure about the second payment.
Okay, and then something else. This is off time. This is a little extra. I wanted to just clarify here because we had well, a bit of a weird sequence of events. So Sarab from Colorful Notion was going off about hydration or something on X, and then this Gem Implementers event was then suddenly downvoted. It received some major votes against, and then the title of this ref 1024 was changed to vote nay because he said it's going to be part of what the work you're doing. I just wanted to make sure that story lines up with what you understand as well.
I've been in touch with Surab, and I think it's great to support Gem implementers. However, we are planning to do a program that is for the public, right? For people who are interested from the outside. Surab was planning something for the implementers to hang out and to work together. So that wouldn't necessarily happen there. We will give them space to work, of course, during Sub-Zero. We'll have a hacker space. It's going to be big enough for at least 30, 40 people to work together or more, actually. So that's not going to be an issue. And of course, the stage time on the last day, the Gem Implementers Day, where we would talk about it, right? Create a program together with Chaos DAO and of course the implementers themselves to make sure this really rocks. But his proposal is completely separate from ours. So we don't plan on compensating for travel or paying for their extra venue because it was never really our intention. And so we think, but we can do really great things for the Gem implementers. So I think it's fair to say that there's stuff happening, but probably in a bit of a different,
Gotcha. Thanks.
Financial model.
Raul, did you have a quick comment about that? No.
Raul?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I was the first one to comment on referendum 1024, which is Colorful Notion's proposal. And I just said there, and I think this still stands, at least in my opinion. I think the ideal scenario, because I know that Jam implementers, it's good for them to come together, have sessions, and understand how they work on the implementation and according to the languages that they chose. But for me, the ideal scenario would be to have presence of these teams on Sub-Zero as well, right? And allow them the opportunity to also go to DevCon, right? So this could allow them to reach out to other developer communities, and Sub-Zero should have a portion, in my opinion, Sub-Zero should have a portion dedicating to Jam implementer sessions and include this content in the agenda. I don't know if maybe only Jam implementers should be able to attend. Maybe that's the case. That would be great as well. But doing two events at the same time, right? Different events organized by different people. It fragments the community. I think we should take advantage of the fact that Sub-Zero will happen in the same city as DevCon and as Sub-Zero. Have Sub-Zero and Jam together. Have a day for Jam implementers to get together and talk to each other and discuss how the implementations work, that is a much more efficient use of funds than preparing 2 different events in 2 different venues, in 2 different scenarios, 2 different days. For me, it's just more efficient to have the community together there and invite these new people working on Jam to come to Sub-Zero and then to work on these sessions.
100%.
Cool.
I mean, I just
We
want to
want that.
say we feel this lust of breaking the walls of tribalism in Web3, and that.
Guys, we are way past time. Sorry, we're moving on.
That was my fault. That was my fault, Funky. I wanted to just investigate this Sarb thing. But
You
then
did let that cat out of the bag, sir.
I did. But then we got back into it, and we can't get back into it because time is time and time is done. Thank you guys for coming on the show. And when are you going to put this up?
Discussion is up.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to put the proposal up.
Cool.
Any last feedback, welcome. We can still change stuff.
Okay.
And we will make sure that our ID is confirmed on PeopleChain.
All good. Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. We're going to now...
Thank you so much.
We're going to roll back because we have Nadav back on the show for this Chainwire proposal. This one about about 5 days into it, and $20 million. Lots of votes to come in. Currently a bit split, 42.2% in favor. Nadav, welcome to Attempts at Governance. And what would you like to tell us about Ref 1054?
Hey guys, nice to be here, and thanks for having me on the show. I'm gonna be a bit quiet because I just actually put my kid to bed, which is a big mission here. So I'll try to still get the points across. So yeah, I mean, for those of you that don't really know our involvement in the ecosystem, we've been working the past, I would say, 4 to 5 months with many different Polkadot ecosystem projects. We've been doing this originally for the marketing bounty, so I was not really aware of the whole governance and open gov situation. And then a bunch of people basically invited us to be a curator, and then we kind of presented what we're doing, and they liked it. So that's how the relationship got started. And basically, what we're doing is we have a content API feed that goes to about 150 different websites. A lot of them are in crypto, and some of them are in finance. And basically, what this enables us is to instant publish articles pretty much everywhere we want. Magazines like CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, Decrypt, and so on and so forth. So then the ecosystem projects are able to tap into our network and basically broadcast their announcements. The flow is such, and we've improved it over time, that there are 2 leading agencies. One of them is Market Across, and the other one is Destructive, and they handle most of the strategy and reporters pitching, because Chainwire is kind of like broadcasting a press release, whereas the agencies would maximize all of the organic and editorial reach. So the flow is that they first write it and strategize with the client, and then we take it and we blast it out so that we get millions of eyeballs on it for each project. So that's the flow. We've been working with about 25 projects. I was, excited to go with an open gov referenda. I understand a lot of people didn't really like some of the things in the marketing bounty, which were kind of like not communicated properly. Some of it is our fault, some of it is good, some of it is bad. But we're now here to kind of work directly and take feedback and improve. And the note, I think, for us is that I think projects need this, because obviously we all want to push Polkadot, but also pushing the projects building on Polkadot is something we can do. And they have been commenting on the thread. But yeah, I'm here, open to any kind of question or feedback. But we're excited to keep at it, and we only grow our network more and more. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Nice to have you here. And for clarity, I'd pull your mouth back just a little bit away from the microphone. I know you're trying to be quiet there, but
sorry.
that's all good. Hope, what's your question?
You waited 3 minutes.
No, it was good. It was good. It was audible, but just going forward. Hope.
Thank you so much. So I think my only question is do you provide data analytics, and have you been providing data analytics for how many people read the article when it's broadcast, that kind of information?
That's like the best question I guess you can ask. That's very appreciated because obviously we want to see that our work gets impact. So the first thing to note is that usually in the realms of, let's say, branding and PR, it's more like a holistic thing with regards to reputation, SEO, visibility and whatnot. So it's very hard to measure as opposed to, let's say, acquisition campaigns. But to answer your question, because we vet our publishers when they want to join us, I can see into their Google Analytics, and we have tools like, if someone knows here, for example, SimilarWeb or Ahrefs or stuff like that. So we have these tools which we measure how much traffic or how much SEO, let's say, metrics each website have, and then we're able to basically say this is the monthly type of views the website received, let's say Decrypt or Crypto Slate or whatnot, and then our articles appears on the homepage for, let's say, 2 or 3 days. So we have an algorithm that kind of like guesstimates how many views, and we've put this up on the referenda so you guys can see it. It's there. So there's like a slide with a PDF that is broken down into 24 to 25 campaigns, and an estimated amount of impressions. So it's important to mention these are not verified reads, but this is an impression of the article. So we do the best we can. Of course, we don't own the sites, but we have softwares and APIs that kind of like gets as close as possible. So that's what we can deliver.
All right, I was showing some of that off while you were explaining it there. Raul, what do you want to say?
Hi, Nadav. Thank you for the presentation. I just have a question regarding past proposals, because you said you worked with the marketing bounty before. I'm just wondering if your team also covered the media work on Decoded or no?
Yes, but that was a joint effort with Market Across and Destructive. So what they've done is they first wrote the piece and they strategized, and then they basically pitched some reporters, and then after the initial wave of coverage was done, we received the press release and we broadcasted it to, I believe, about 20 to 30 outlets. That was a very small campaign because they did a good job, and we kind of followed up, and that is also in the referenda report.
Okay, sorry, just because what I failed to see at Decoded, for example, there were some media coverage with regards to the conference happening, but there was no media coverage with regards to the announcements that happened on the coverage, right? So post conference announcing all of the news and what happened on Decoded, I think that would be a good adjustment just to take into account.
So I think you're right, and I think an important point here is now that we have an open channel to many projects, and we have a lot of discussions with you guys, with the leaders in Polkadot, like pushing the community. Now we have an open channel, so now it's going to be much easier to receive demands and to know what's going in the ecosystem, and to basically have you guys or some representatives here in the chat funnel these projects like Jay have been doing, and Crane. So now we feel like we know the ecosystem much more, so the communication can be much better also. So I think you're right, Raul, and that was missed. But it could have been easily implemented because all we need is basically the content. The rest is not a problem.
Thank you so much for the answer.
Of course.
Yeah, and I'll throw in there, I think we connected you with like 10 or 12 projects or something, and it was all very professional and very efficient in each one of those channels on Telegram that you guys started. So
I do. If I have like a minute more, I just want to clarify something that people have been asking me. So just for full transparency, I'm actually a co-founder in Market Across, and the difference between these is that Chainwire is basically a self-service platform, whereas Market Across is an agency very much like Destructive that does communications management and strategy. So these are separate tools. They are very much complementary, but just for the visibility and transparency, I'm, of course, a co-founder in both, but personally, I am leading Chainwire, whereas my partner, which some of you guys know a lot, is more like leading them Market Across. So that's just like clarification that we saw the need for a product like this in the market, because not everyone needs the full type of shebang service, and some people just need a broadcasting tool. So that's something just so everyone knows.
Awesome. Okay, 90 seconds left. This is 75,000 DOT. Do you know how long this pot would last, or how long you estimate?
At least 4 months, maybe even 6 months.
Yeah.
We can also pace ourselves, by the way. So my original idea was like we create a big distribution for each project, and we can do about 50 of those. But of course, we can stretch it to like 100 or 150 and get it up to a year. So it's gonna last for a long time, and I think it depends on the movement of the ecosystem and the demands of projects.
Okay, well, interesting project and an interesting piece of the Polkadot marketing puzzle here. We'll have to see how voters come through for you. Lots of votes to come in yet. But yeah, welcome back anytime during this process to update us, but we'll definitely check it out next week.
Guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, winding down on the presentations here, but we don't want to leave out the Polkadot Slush 2024 initiative, now down to $112,000. We have Tommy and Strindbergman on the show. Anybody else to talk about it? I think that's it.
Yeah, I can say a word about it as well afterwards.
Max as well. Guys, welcome all to the show.
Thank you.
Votes just rolling in on this, but 55.8% in favor so far. What do you want to tell us?
Can I share my screen?
Of course.
Is the pink bubble visible?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Cool. All right. So actually, Web0 gave a pretty good intro to this, because I have a feeling that we are in the point in history that we are kind of getting out of our pink bubble, and we're starting to explore opportunities with other chains, but also outside of the Web3 space. And I guess we kind of have to do that because we've exhausted already what is there in our little drop in the ocean, and now we need to go see what the ocean has to offer. So we have been working quite long already to connect Slush into Polkadot ecosystem, and we now have a partnership agreement with them, if we get funding for this, to bring 11 networkers from Polkadot ecosystem to a conference in Finland, in Helsinki, in November. And this attracts about 13,000 people, out of which 5,500 are founders and 3,300 are investors. And not just any investors, but this is biggest concentration of VC money in the world, with more than 3 trillion USD assets under management. So we're talking about pretty significant thing. So our solution for this is to bring those networkers there, but before that, we need to lay the basis, and we need a little bit of digital marketing to happen so that it is easier for us to actually start knocking on the doors of those people who are coming there. We will have tools from Slush provided for us that will help us in doing the matchmaking and making those meetings happen with the people, but we still need to spend a bit of money for digital marketing so that they actually know what Polkadot is. So our challenge is to shift through those 13,000 people and find the potential ones from there, and then have meetings with them. To do that, we are organizing one event beforehand, a pre-event just a day before the main event starts for investors. And this is most likely going to be a sauna event, which is kind of a Finnish culture for the investors. And then we have another event at the same time. So we split the team into two, where we create a Web3 panel in a Match XR event, which is geared for people who are interested in emergent technologies. So it's not only Web3, but there's also AI and XR type of audience there. To see what the impact out of all this is, that we're aiming at 100 highly potential and qualified leads, which could even we could even talk about opportunities. Maybe leads is a misleading word here, because we really want to have people who are interested in joining the ecosystem, either as a builder or a founder, or as an investor. And we are going to have a sign-up form for these people, which is hopefully GDPR compliant because we're in Europe. Ideally, we would have a common CRM system, but we don't have that yet. So we need to play with what we have. So a sign-up form to give their consent to have follow-up action with them. And we want to connect them to the ecosystem teams. So we don't really handle the follow-up ourselves. Some of our networkers might handle some of those things on their own, but most of the contacts will go to the ecosystem teams. And to make this easier, we're going to start a Telegram group during the event already, so that we have ecosystem teams represented there, and whoever joins that group can then start talking with the ecosystem then and there. So it's like a easy avenue to start the discussions. We have used quite a bit of time already. I started this on my own in January. I was asking for help. I got none. I pushed through anyways, and then in June, I finally got help when someone from the Web2 ecosystem contacted me, and Patricia's help has been integral in getting this going, and now we finally have a great team to make this happen. Patricia and William are going to be looking into the ecosystem needs, and Patricia is organizing all the investor relations related events and programs that we need. And then Caitlin is taking care of the digital marketing, and Lucy is handling the administrative part. And as you might have noticed, this is the first Polkadot Community Foundation project. So the money is not coming to us, but the money goes to Polkadot Community Foundation. And then based on what is mentioned in the proposal, they will release those funds to us if we meet the criteria. I'm handling both the leadership of the team and the local preparation needed in Helsinki. So just to recap, objective is to attract new investors and founders outside of our bubble, get 100 of them and make sure that they are really good ones, not just anyone, but actual people who want to enter the ecosystem, and we know what the next step is with them. And we showcase the specific investment opportunities from the ecosystem for them. And the whole idea with this is that it's a program that can be then replicated and improved upon by other teams that come after us, and hopefully make it even better. And we are already here with the idea that we go here to learn for the first time, and then we'll do it better next year, and we can make it bigger and better and more expensive in 2025. But let's start with this this approach. And since we have a little bit of time left, I will leave it to Max and Strindbergman to tell who the people are who are going to make all this happen.
Yeah, Max, you can start since you have your hand up.
Okay, thank you. Well, then I'll just say 1 minute. I'm really excited to be part of this team of networkers here. I really like the approach. I think it's a really important part that Tommy said right at the beginning, is that this is all about going out, right? Like getting out of the Polkadot bubble, getting out of the crypto bubble, right? Because that's really, you know, what we need to do now, in my opinion, right? Rather than like staying in our own echo chamber. And I think Slush is a great example for that. And the other thing that I really want to emphasize here is, yes, this is about bringing new projects to Polkadot, but importantly, also, this is a great place to fundraise, right? This is a great place to fundraise for Polkadot. There are lots of VCs, some of the top VCs coming there. And even more important from my personal perspective is not just VCs, but also LPs. So there's a dedicated section for LPs that are interested in investing in VC funds are attending this year. And so if we can make like a good case for Polkadot there, which I'm sure we will, it's also really like a nice way of raising outside capital into a Polkadot ecosystem fund. And as most of you will know, this is something that I am particularly passionate about. So yeah, that's all I have to say from my side. Very excited about this project and to be part of it.
And yeah, and for my part, I mean, I talked to Tommy. He said, let's go to Slush. And I know it's a very respectable conference. You know, a lot of big tech companies have broken there and had a lot of traction. If we can get in and talk to those people earlier, I mean, it's just a no-brainer to go there. So that's why I agreed to be one of the networkers, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Let's get this off the screen here. And how much time do we have left? 1 minute and 20 seconds. So I think, Roman, you raised your hand first.
Nice. Quick question. Why Slush? I know the conference for like 7 years or so. So I would like to know why you picked this specifically, because I'm looking at conferences globally. I would like to know more about that.
Well, I probably picked it because I'm here. Okay. I know it from the moment that it was started. So I've seen it grow to a conference of 25,000 people and then being killed by COVID and then resurfacing as a more intimate event with just 13,000 people attending. It's a very relevant conference with a lot of good investors and good founders that
But it hasn't been relevant in Web3. That's just why my question is there, you know, what makes you think this stands out, kind of like, because I've been looking at it and I know Bitvala, I used to work with them, and they're kind of like a boomer crypto thing. You bought like, you know, Bitcoin and Ethereum at most.
10 seconds left, 10 seconds left.
Didn't stick there. So just something to keep in mind. The audience might not be very open to crypto generally.
Yeah, sure. It's a learning.
But that's
learning
really
experience.
literally part of the
We're at
strategy.
time, gang.
That's the core strategy here, like to
We're
go
at time.
outside of the crypto.
We're at time, Max.
All right.
Honestly, I'm scared of the day when Ryan gets out his meter stick, his yardstick, you know, and really cracks down. Thank you very much, Funky, for being the time of there. And yes, as the presenters were saying at the end there, it's part of the strategy to go outside the bubble. That was the first slide we saw there. But thank you for the question, Roman. Xylo, sorry we don't have time for another question. We're just going to roll on through here. Guys, thanks very much. Let's look at it one more time. What was that? Oh, yeah. A lot of votes come in, 55.8% in favor. Okay, so what do we got left? We got you, Funky. And look, I want you to be harsh on the timer here, too. This is the Modern Market Show headline sponsorship for 6 months. This is as I understand it, a daily X space, and we're looking to sponsor them for 6 months, or proposing to sponsor them for 6 months for 120,000 USDC. This decision period just opened up. A completely insignificant amount of votes so far, less than 40,000 dot in play here. But want to welcome everybody to the show. And what do we want to talk about today?
Hi guys.
Hello.
There he is. Thanks so much for the opportunity to speak to you guys. It's a great opportunity and I really appreciate it. Appreciate Funky for introducing me here. I thought it might be helpful because I'm new to the ecosystem. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself and then I'll get into the show and everything that goes on there. So I joined crypto like relatively late in 2021. I came in via NFTs. I kind of liked art in the real world. I thought, oh, it's really cool. These digital artists can make some money here. Fantastic. So I bought some NFTs early 2021. Thought that was very interesting. The market went completely insane. I was actually a commercial lawyer at the time in London. I worked for one of the big law firms there. Before that, I share a previous employment history with Funky. I used to be an English teacher at a secondary school for 3 years. So I come from a teaching background, a lawyer background, discovered NFTs in 2021, and then kind of learned about crypto backwards. And within 6 months of discovering it, I quit my job. I was like, this is fantastic, this is interesting, but I knew that the hype wasn't going to last, which was one of the wiser decisions I made when some of the NFT trading was not so wise. So I kind of committed to the space and I thought, well, what can I do that allows me to make a real contribution to the space based on my previous skill set? So I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I should be writing, I should be communicating. That's the thing that I do best. So back in December 2021, I started my newsletter called The Snapshot. I've written that every single week for 133 weeks in a row. That's got 2,900 subscribers. It's fully sponsored at the moment. But I wrote that for a whole year with no funding, just like writing, building an audience, growing the community, growing the readers. And then started with the writing, wrote for a year with no sponsorship, kicked off the sponsorship, I think at the start of 2023. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of on top of that. What can I do more? I want to keep building the media. I'm good at this. That was a once a week publication. Then I started doing a daily publication called The Daily Snapshot. That's the one on my Twitter timeline. That's like quite well read now amongst the NFT community and the crypto community on crypto Twitter. And then I was like, okay, I'm on top of this. Parts of those get sponsored in different ways every now and again. That's part of the business model. Then I was like, right, let's do a show on top of this. It was after the time Twitter Spaces had become pretty big. And so in 2023, we started the show, me and my business partner, Legendary. And we started with like 6-7 people in the show, in the room with us. Not a lot of people would come. I know one of the ways people typically try to grow is by inviting other big guests, but we specifically set out with the intention that we don't want to be relying on other people, because that means that we're relying on other people for the basis of our show. And we wanted everyone to be there for our voice, our opinions, and our perspectives on the market. And so we just did it ourselves every day, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. BST. And we've done 320 shows now. We've built it up on Twitter to around, so we had 130 live in the Twitter space today, but we've also expanded to Twitter video, and we had 260 eyes on us live during the show. And we also streamed live to YouTube, which we kind of expanded to a little bit later in the year, maybe 5 or 6 months in, I can't remember exactly when. And maybe we have 20, 30 people watching live during the show on YouTube, more watching after. And so it's just basically been this journey of continuously producing content, expanding the horizon every now and again, expanding the audience. And now we've get to this point where we have a newsletter, which is actually not part of the proposal specifically. The daily snapshot, which is part of the proposal, the one that goes on Twitter, probably gets the most reach and most read by the most significant people. And then also the daily show, which is like probably the most fun actually I have, when we get to like engage in a live show every single day. So in terms of the specific details, and obviously I'm happy to take questions on all this stuff in just a little bit, I might share the screen so that we can just go through the proposal. Oh, what's this? Don't show this again. Dismiss. Starting with the Snapshot partnership, this is kind of, well, I'll give you a bit of breakdown on the show. So 300 to 400 live listeners each day, more tuning into recordings. We publish to X, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We do a video clip of the show each day as well. It's Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time for 60 minutes. About us, I told you a little bit about myself, my business partner, Legendary. He's a former management consultant. He helped raise multiple teams, seed rounds and KOL rounds during, in the last few months. He's an advisor to Play Ember, a Mintify, an NFT marketplace, and a big Web3 gaming company. I have 11.9K followers on Twitter. He has 29.3. And in terms of the audience of like the type of people we reach, we typically, I think it's a reflection of the professional background. So I'm a former lawyer. My business partner is a former management consultant. We have another former management consultant who joins us 2 times a week, and a former accountant, city accountant, joining us 3 times a week. And we're always discussing the modern market, which means the NFT market, the crypto market, and generally how to try to be entrepreneurial in the crypto sphere. And so we have very sophisticated participants on ETH, Sol, Bitcoin primarily, but I do think Polkadot is an area which people are not very aware about given its size and prominence. I've got a bunch of testimonials here from prominent kind of NFT crypto people. I'll let people kind of look at those themselves from various people. This is what the partnership would actually look like on the written side. This is a mock-up of what the snapshot will look like with the Polkadot kind of branding on top of it. It would be 3 times a week where Polkadot would be featured in this daily publication, which people read quite often. And on the modern market side for the show, what we would do is we have 2 sides, two types of exposure. One is the timeline exposure, where we will have a show announcement tweet every single day, and we'd include Polkadot in that 3 times a week. And then there's also the live show exposure, where we shout out Polkadot at the start and end of the show. We'll usually share some core information about Polkadot, but we'll also keep ourselves up to date on latest Polkadot developments, so we can share those when appropriate at that time. And I think one of the things that I was telling Funky beforehand, which I'd be entirely committed to, is if you have these types of conversations weekly, which you do, like, again, I have to stress, I'm not a technical person, but I was a former commercial litigator, and I find all this stuff interesting, and I've been entirely curious about learning about this stuff. So I'd be happy to be joining this stuff very routinely in order to make sure I'm informed with the latest developments, so I can inform people as part of the sponsorship reads. In addition to that, the Polkadot main account could come up on stage and join us. So you get that kind of prominence on stage on Twitter with the hundreds of people in there. And then finally, we would have the Polkadot logo on screen so that those watching on the show on X video and on YouTube video would obviously see Polkadot there. And that's just like a little mock-up that I did without, not a live mock-up, there's no one else in the other seat.
Okay.
That is,
you know, we have 2 minutes left. It might be wise to leave some time for questions. What do you think about
Sure.
that? Yeah? Okay,
I'm completely on that.
Okay, sounds good. So we have 2 hands up, Tommy and Hope. Let's respect everybody's time with short questions and short answers.
Hey, so I was checking basically the numbers while I listened to you talking. On Twitter, I see 3,000 followers. The best impressions I see on tweets is maybe 2,000. There is Twitter Spaces that have 1,100 viewers with 1,100 impressions. On YouTube, I see sort of 400 subscribers, and the views are not really good, like tens of views, hundreds of views. On Spotify, I see like 5 people starring the thing, and in general, the numbers don't look proportionate to the ask size to me. Any response to that?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things that we're probably aware of is that crypto attention is quite expensive in general. And whilst I appreciate maybe other protocols or projects might operate in a particular way, this does, in my opinion, does kind of track with the market rate for live shows. One of the things that differentiates us from maybe other shows is that we go live every single day. You can kind of get a sense of who's in there. And seeing some prominent people in there is kind of guaranteeing that on the creator side, you're getting the message out to maybe a different branch of people who you haven't had a chance to reach before. But I appreciate there's only 30 seconds left.
Go ahead, Hope. Let's fire it in.
What is the ultimate intent? Is it anything we provide you, or do you set the stage?
I think I would set the stage, but I think one of the things that would be helpful in terms of you guys being able to provide me with information is, as I'm joining these calls on a week to week basis, I could kind of take some of that information and integrate it in whatever people generally think is really interesting.
Sorry, I gotta cut the mic. Sorry.
Oh, that's a big 11 seconds that you snuck in there. Okay, good stuff. No, just kidding. Good. Hey, nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on the show and introducing us to this idea. Yeah, it'll be an interesting debate to see what voters think about the standard market rate for live shows. You kind of setting a benchmark here, so we'll have to see about that. Limo Funky, when we get to episode 1000, the retroactive ask for AAG is going to be massive.
It's the ultimate grift, mate. It's the ultimate grift.
But it's the long term. It's a long game. It's a long con. No, sir. Thank you very much for coming on the show. And
thank you.
I'm gonna follow along, and I'm gonna drop into one of these days here. Okay. Okay.
Can I say one thing real quick, Jake?
Why not, Funk?
Just listen to the show. That's all I'd ask anybody.
Try to listen to the show.
Just tune into the show. That's it. Just listen every day and see if you want to be a part of this. That's all.
That's key. Okay, I'm gonna throw the X account into the live chat so people can do just that. That concludes our presentations today, but we did have an interesting discussion here. Well, an interesting situation. So Hasham, who's on the chat there, hello, sir. You posted a big discussion called "What's Best for Polkadot," and then you asked for a slot on the show, and so I thought, why not? We should give it to you. Now you do cover a lot here. So we're going to start the timer, and I thought maybe it'd be good to maybe focus in on one particular piece to start the discussion.
Yeah. Hi, this is Hasham. So this is the first time I'm joining a space for crypto. I've been following AAG for like past 8-9 months. I've been watching all the shows and clips, everything. So I'm a big fan of Polkadot, but what I have been noticing for quite some time now that we need to create a more efficient way on how we can have our treasury working for us. So the problem we are having at the moment is we're getting proposals, and the proposals that we are getting, we don't have anything to compare them with. So let's say we've got chain analysis, we've got other proposals, we've got like sports sponsorship, asking us for like $1 million, but we have got nothing to compare them with, so we can come up with a better price for Polkadot, not for the one who's proposing the deal, but for Polkadot. So what I propose here is that we come up with a tender system. So how tenders will work? We here at, like in normal governments, we here at Polkadot, what we can do is that we can set our goals, like short-term to medium-term goals. Then we can set out tenders that, how we can set out tenders? We need a sports sponsorship. We can set up a tender. We are looking for a sports sponsorship, and any team, third-party team, who's going to provide us that sports sponsorship with the best price, best quality, we're going to go with that. So obviously we're going to have the voting and everything in it, but it's just like we'll have more competitors when we set out a goal for other people to just focus on what we need for Polkadot and not for what they want from us. So the thing is that I've seen, we've got many proposals, like we've got people, like coding something for a service that we may not need. What we need is that we need to put out a tender for a specific thing. It could be like a website, it could be an app, it could be anything else, and then have other teams compete for it. We don't need us to, like play a part in, bargaining for a better deal. We want other people to bargain, and they will automatically come up with a better price we can have for ourselves. We can have like 10 people, coming up for one specific thing, and then we can have one team who's going to provide us the same service in less price. Why don't we go with that team?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we just voting on something that we don't know? We are just putting out anything, voting on, and like just paying them for nothing. And
mm-hmm.
on top of that, one other thing that I would like to mention is we've got all those like Snowbridge, Hyperbridge, and all those things, but why is every product or service coming up with their own name? Why is it not coming up with like Polkadot name on top of it?
Mm-hmm.
Just for an example, we had Jam, it was like a big info, people went crazy for Jam, and like normal non-crypto users or retailers, they had in their mind that maybe there's a new token coming out in the market, which is Jam. Why is that? Why are people thinking of like a new token or something new is coming, or maybe things are going to shift away from Polkadot? So why, even on the gray paper, why it's not like Polkadot Jam? Why is it like written like Jam in like big bold letters at the top? Why it's not Polkadot Jam? Why it's not Polkadot Snowbridge, or maybe Polkadot Hyperbridge?
Mm-hmm.
We know that we have got Polkadot Pay coming out, which is very nice. It comes out with a Polkadot name. But why not with the? I'm not sure if there are if there are any legalities or like other things with it, but why is that? And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the main part of it.
That's good. Let me get in here and kind of summarize a little bit. You're actually you're touching on two big conversations that are happening in the ecosystem. One is the request for proposals, which Raul talked about on the recent Space Monkeys, and the other is the idea of consolidating Polkadot's efforts around a single brand, a single place. This is kind of in line with Rob's Plaza idea. But let's hear from the panel now. Let's start. We have 5 minutes. Let's start with Hope, and then Limo, and then Robert.
Okay, I'm going to talk really quick here. So there's a lot of this I agree with there, and I've had some side discussions with people who also have similar ideas. Some things I want to put out to this. Number one, as a person who has gone out for vendors and done, hires, having buckets here, right? We also have to have a crew that goes out and solicits, looking for the products or the developers or the people to build the things we put in these buckets. Additionally, I don't see everything as black and white. We would also need a bucket where we have a bring your idea, right? And then a team there or within the ecosystem, those things can be, looked at or voted on for the need or the desire. There's so much here, I think, to touch on in and of itself. I think it could be its own roundtable and discussion. So I'm just going to shut up now.
Okay, thank you for your input. Let's go to Limo.
Yeah, this is more of a statement. Okay, so we do need to start thinking in terms of RFPs. For example, for the public RPC bounty, we did exactly this. We kind of set requirements and then people tendered for it, right? We need to start doing this. We need to identify what we want and then publish it as an RFP and give people time to submit their tenders and need to be evaluated transparently by experts. This also helps with people like submitting proposals for things that we don't want or need, but they want to come up with doing something, and then they get mad that they get named. This will direct them to do something that we actually want. This is the standard process in so many industries, including the oil and gas industry. This just drives down costs and improves quality. We just need to make sure that tenders are evaluated transparently and by the correct people, or however that process is going to look like.
Wonderful. Let's hear from Robert.
Yeah, just a quick comment on your branding, like adding Polkadot like to everything. So so for instance, like Snowbridge and Hyperbridge are independent teams. So I don't think it makes sense there to add Polkadot there. And I think it would also undermine my personal opinion is it would undermine we're trying to build like decentralized network here. And I feel like this undermines a bit like the diversity that's being offered there. So I do see the concern that like there's not one unified brand there, but it is decentralized network. That is the nature of it.
Nice counterpoint. Let's hear from Strindbergman.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I love the ideas of having tenders for stuff, but like, I think that we overestimate how aware brands are about Polkadot. Like this is what Hope also we're talking about, So I think there's still going to be a lot of room for the BD efforts to bring these people in for us to even get valuable tenders to take into account. I don't think there's a lot of like football clubs that would have sent in a tender because we put something up on a forum or something like that. But I do think that if we would have had those relationships, and like I think we could have had competitive offers for like, or for my part, for my esports proposal, for example. I think there could have been multiple teams that would have reached out if we had that system, but we don't have it. So I'm all for it. So it's a very good suggestion.
May I suggest as well that maybe the efforts of this tendering idea, this seems best suited to happen within bounties, and if those bounties are successful, eventually collectives. I saw Christoph ask the question, like, who decides what is the best price? And I guess it would have to be a trusted group of curators. This kind of has to do with, and I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, Funky. This proposal that was submitted by OTAR 1080, this is Open Source Developer Grants Bounty Program, which wants to fire 30K into different projects. This could kind of be around there. This is a bounty. It seems a bit proper here, proper use of bounty where, okay, so we have this this grant program, show us what you got, and this team curates who gets funded. And Tommy, Allison, Bob, you're actually in here. Did you want to talk about this at all?
I can talk a little bit about the story, the backstory as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Web3 Foundation is giving out grants for different kinds of software development, protocol development, everything that pushes Polkadot forward.
Yeah.
And last year they launched the Decentralized Futures program, basically saying we have a few $1 million. Anyone who comes in with a good idea might get funded. And now they got a lot of proposals. And my understanding is that they wanted to give some of the smaller ideas also an opportunity to get a grant. But I would guess the Web3 Foundation wants to focus on the bigger things, right? And so I think from this, my guess is from this is where the idea originated to create this grants program. Have it inspired by how the Web3 Foundation is giving out grants, but putting it on chain, which in my understanding is also like a nice test run for bringing yet another function that is typically done by a foundation on chain under the control of on-chain governance. Focus of the program is small open source projects, like early ideas, bringing them into fruition, showing if they have promise.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, Funk, I deviated here. I wanted to talk about this later, but appreciate it. Why don't we, because I think there's about 40 seconds left there, why don't we give Hasham a moment to respond to everything you heard? Just a quick 30 seconds there, sir.
Yeah, so my thing is that we don't need to, like change everything, but we need to set up goals, like maybe in like next 6 months, or when the crypto hype is back in like maybe a year, when the bull market is all over the top and more people are coming to, crypto space, then maybe we should have like a timeline that will be moving from this setup to a better setup for our treasury,
Awesome.
So yeah, this is just what I had in my mind. So thanks for having me.
Thank you for participating in this way. You took it past just chatter on Twitter, and you did a discussion, then came on AAG. You got a conversation rolling, and we really appreciate that.
It was a funny story. I was actually at my work. I work as an accountant, so I had YouTube open and I was listening to AAG, and I had some points on my mind. I just drafted something while I was at work, and I just sent it through.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for gracing the platform with that. That's what the Coos is all about, participation, and we're glad to have you included there.
But
So
don't tell your boss you were doing that at work.
we get retroactive active spend proposal from his boss. All good. Okay, winding down the show now. It's been a doozy. It's been a beauty. Just a few refs that I had in my sights that I wanted to mention. If anybody else has a ref they're watching, do speak up. But one from Spazcoin wants to fire 2,200 DOT into various parachain child accounts to make opening relay chains between, HRMP channels between them a whole lot easier. This is another great example. We keep talking about Spaz. We love Spaz. Just an ecosystem agent seeing a small thing he can do to make everybody's life easier. And here he is with a nice small spend to get something through that could really have big impacts down the line. We also have, we discussed that. Want to check in on Asset Portal. So we did see Colorful Notions, $1.5 million proposal that ended up getting rejected. We saw that in refs gone by, but the Asset Portal initiative at 30,000 or just 31,000 DOT, this is doing pretty well at 75.8% in favor. Still a lot more DOT votes to come through there though. The AMI marketing bounty, this one, the vote to close this is at 83.7%. This is after the initial leader, Adam, left, and the team seems like they have a lot of good ideas and they've made a lot of improvements, but haven't been able to get voters on the side of not closing this bounty down. And I also did want to check in on our friend at All In Crypto. This one's right down to the wire, 51.9% for 6 more months of coverage on his channel. He does really great in-depth content for 12,500 DOT. Personally hoping to see this one go through, but the voters right now are pretty split. What else did you have there, Limo?
I was going to mention the Spazcoin one and why he's doing it that way and not a way that other people said that he could do it.
Yeah.
So to open the HRMP channels between parachains, I believe it's like 40 DOT for each parachain, for each direction or something. It might be a little cheaper. It was that at one point. Maybe Robert knows the exact amount. But basically, they need some DOT in their sovereign account on the relay chain to do that, right? Now, you could force open HRMP channels, which is what people used to have to do when they were opening channels with Asset Hub and all this stuff, right? These system parachains. You don't need to do that now. It's permissionless as of like yesterday or something. So he's doing it this way so that the parachain governance itself can decide if they want to open HRMP channels with other parachains. So then it's up to those chains to decide on if the channels are open. Whereas if you force open it, it like puts some like sovereignty into question and stuff. So this is the way to do it. It's, in my opinion, not a waste of money. It's really not a lot of funds, and it just increases network effect, which is pretty good.
Very nice. Thanks for the explanation. Does anybody have any other refs they're looking at before we close the show?
Yes, actually, I
Yes.
just popped in my head, Jay.
What is it?
Ref 1014.
Yeah.
Will Paradox specifically wanted me to mention something about on AAG. I figured
Okay.
it was going to come at the end.
Yep.
So what's happening is, my understanding is all the public chains, whether it's Asset Hub, Bridge Hub, blah, 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 they all have a set number of invulnerable coallators as well as permissionless coallators. So they effectively, like, if you're one of the permissionless, if you're not invulnerable, you can try and like muscle your way in to be a collator on that set. And the minimum bond, I think, is 1,000 on DOT and whatever it is on Kusama. And so Luca and the other collators basically were putting together this ref to then expand this, I believe, to the people chain, because right now they only have invulnerables. They do not have the permissionless collators. So they're trying to match the other public good chains, but for whatever reason, it's being crushed. And it was one that we had, as an organization, abstained from. But then I was talking to Will, and he's like, it's really a symbolic vote, which I forgot it was on staking admin. So it's not like our vote even follows with the DV. So we just, and I put a little note there this morning when I was doing my OpenGov office hours that we did switch to I just as a symbolic, trying to, like, you know, because it is a lot of the community collators who'll be running this thing. And I don't know how far we are. I think it's pretty deep into the decision period.
Yep.
But that was, he just wanted me to mention it on the air while we were talking about refs that, you know, and this is, I think, 1014, so it's a ways back. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, share that with everybody.
That's right. We have 2 days remaining and very low voter turnout.
Yeah.
Basically, on the nay side, it's being carried by a single account by 16HZ. Berto also against this, and Jimmy too. Yeah, okay. And Raul also saying it's important there. I saw in the chat. Limo, what did you want to say about it?
Yeah, these kind of refs, what I've noticed recently is a lot of people really just don't understand them. It can be this one, or it can be like funding systems parachain collators, right? People, even DVs, do not understand. I don't even think they understand what collators are, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. So I think whoever submits these refs needs to really, really explain like I'm 5 which goes back to like AAG episode number 20, when we were saying this. I just think people don't understand what this is and why it's important, and we probably need to just explain it a bit more. Because we saw on Kusama, funding systems parachain collators got rejected because DBs just got confused with like an encounter thing or something, which was very silly.
Yeah, it's effectively a public good, and something that, again, I think Luca from Iceberg Nodes, I think Will had kind of written some of it or just told him like, hey, go post this, just to try and get another community person involved. Plus, he's just so busy with everything going on. And even to the point like where I had tagged Will on July 20th in our Discord server and like, hey, really need you to weigh in on this and, you know, give us, because the rest of us are the more non-technical. And he only saw it today when he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I've been so busy. Like, I didn't even see the tag. I missed it. But when he approached me and I said, oh, yeah, I remember asking you about your opinion weeks ago on this thing. So he said, if you could bring it up on AAG. So yes, if people can vote for this, again, it is a public good. It's something that will benefit the ecosystem and will bring us in alignment with the rest of the public chains.
Thank you very much for bringing that up, and very good point, Limo. Appreciate that discussion. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap up today? Well, then I guess that's it. You know, happy to say we did just cross the 4,000 viewers mark on the Polkadot stream of this. That's pretty awesome. 4,000 people stopped by to see all of us attempting governance. And I do want to thank Evan Thomas from the Polkadot account team who made this happen today. We're really honored to be on the main Polkadot channel and sharing this attempt with a wider audience. It's really great. And what a great job the Polkadot account has been doing lately. Even some edgy tweets getting in there, causing a bit of chaos. I think it's really fun to have some character.
B tier.
Which tier are you?
I was B tier. I was so happy because I was surrounded by all the rest of the Giga nerds.
I gotta
it was like
say,
Bill Laboon, Sean Breezy. I felt like I was a man among gods.
B tier looked good.
I can't imagine not being A tier. Oh my god!
As a part of the editorial board, I will accept all that praise on the.
What's the process of the editorial board? What does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. So we have been there now for 6 months, I believe. Like the first cohort, so to speak. Is Goko and Sisang. There's a bunch of people, right?
Legends.
And now I think they're working on. So we are no longer part of the editorial board, like officially.
Okay.
But none of us left, so we are still continuing to just work on it anyway. But yeah, so I think they're speaking with the Web3 Foundation on how to go about doing the next cohort, because they don't want to lose like momentum, because we have a good way of working, and if you exchange all the time, maybe you lose some of that coherency.
Oh, I hope not.
But the initial thought was it was going to be all new people every 6 months, but and a lot more maybe like community voting and stuff. But in practicality, I think maybe it wouldn't work as well. It was more of an idealistic thought. So right now I think they're working on that. I mean, Evan knows a lot more, but that's but there's gonna be people changing.
Yeah. No, I hope we don't piss it away with over decentralization, or you know what I mean. Simon, what do you want to say? Welcome to the show.
Hello, people. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Oh, I'm really happy to share with you. It is my first time connected directly in the streaming, because in other opportunities I was directly in YouTube, but this opportunity, is something more interesting. In this today, I would like to share something.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I think we're really at the end of the show here. If you wanted to present something, would you mind coming on next week?
Hey, something really quickly.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm promoting an activity called Polkadot Together. It's something completely voluntary. That I am trying to do the next week in Berlin, after that in Zug, and after that in Madrid, just to talk about Polkadot, and something like a picnic, something completely free. And the idea is try to strike connections between ecosystem participants. I am from Latin America, and I'm going to stay in Europe, and would like to, stay together and try to exchange experience.
Cool. So what does that look like? You're gonna do it in Berlin. What does that look like?
And from 4 p.m. until 6 p.m., it will be after the Web3 Summit.
But what is it? What are you gonna do?
And it's something to talk about. Let me share the.
Okay.
Let me share the link. Can you see in the chat?
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Yeah. The idea is in the first step is try to. I see like in other activities it's possible to have technical talks, but I think that this is a good opportunity to try to talk without use. The idea is mainly 3 topics. To discover what is the opinion of new head ambassador, what is the expectation. The program is completely new. There's a lot of people doing interactions, and it could be interesting to have a better conversation about that. The other is establish connection between Latin America and Europe opportunities. And I made in January a quickly map of Polkadot builder workshop. So I would like your feedback about that. Recently I added Q&A about that. Like I am sharing It's completely free, voluntary. So if you can participate, it will be free, and I'll be very happy.
Okay, sounds good. So what you're doing is a little side event, actually. And you have the address there for Berlin. We posted the link in the chat if anybody who's going to be around Web3 Summit, I suppose, would like to stop by.
And because I know that the culture in Germany have a lot of planning, and this is an idea that company that came to my mind a week ago. And that the process to request a place, request budget, and all that. So the idea is do it something like a picnic, completely free. If someone wants to share cookies and beer, we'll be happy and try to do something relaxed.
Cookies and beer. Very good. Thank you very much, Simon.
You're welcome.
Nice initiative. Thank you. All right, I think we'll wind down the show there. Limo, how did it feel to be on the big stage?
Amazing.
I do want to let everybody know that we also have a show on Mondays, another Attempts at Governance show where we talk about governance on the Kusama chain, as well as a bunch of the roll-ups that are connected to Polkadot and Kusama. If you want to see us on our worst behavior, do tune in on Mondays. We're going to keep that broadcasting only on the Kus channel, though, so make sure you...
Kusama, come on, get on the Kusama.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let's see what we can do about that. Yeah, do search for the Kus on X there and make sure you follow along because we have a lot of content coming out every week. Tomorrow, the return of the Friday News Pump. That's going to be epic because we do have a lot to cover. I hope you enjoyed the shorts that we've been producing this week, and you can expect that production to ramp up next week. On Saturday, like I said, we have Web3 Builders produced by Key Pictures and presented on the Kus. This is going to be featuring Ben, Mr. Lol McShiz, talking about hydration. And then on Sunday, we have a special Space Monkeys featuring the C-suite, the Chiefs from Parody. I will warn you, we did have an unfortunate corruption of files. So the camera that was on me, we don't have it anymore. So we're going to present the Space Monkeys in a unique way. But luckily, the Chiefs had a lot to say, and you won't miss me at all. But that's what's happening here on the Kus. We'll see you all next week, and hope you all have a very nice weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody.
We'll always miss you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you guys. I got to jump to a meeting.
Thank you so much.